Welcome to today's edition of Mental Health Matters. Today, we're going to be talking about parenting. I have Javon Williams on the show today, and she's going to share her experience with raising her children. Get you a drink, get you a snack, and come on back. Good afternoon, Javon. How you doing? I see you trying to get the angles right over there.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. Sometimes I kind of like put it up, put it down, and just like, because the chairs I'm sitting in is kind of short. So, yeah.
Yeah.
How you
Yeah.
doing though?
I'm doing well. It's a lot been going on, back to school for one and
Yeah.
outreach and community things. Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about what's been going on with Javon, and we can go from there.
Oh, yeah. What's been going on? I have an upcoming 5K that's coming up in November 1st.
Okay.
I'm so excited. This is our first 5K run. Purpose of the 5K run is to bring education awareness about the dangers of drugs. For those that don't know, I lost my son 5 years ago for fentanyl. And, who wants anyone to go through this? A parent, a guardian, a dad, a sibling, it's just a terrible thing to have to go through. So, I'm hoping to go ahead and raise funding so we can be able to continue on doing the work that we do as a 50c3 nonprofit, which is, there's a lot of printing that has to go out and back and forth to community events, as well as us giving our own events, just things like that. We visit high school, colleges. We give out swag bags, materials that's age appropriate for the kids, and Narcan and our Narcan. We have the second chance kit, which is an opiate kit. Is with the hand sanitizer, gloves, fentanyl test strip, and naloxone included in there. Thank goodness that the county is helping providing some of those things, but the rest of it comes out of my pocket. So, and just bringing awareness, because we can't stop talking about it. We can't stop talking about it because we know what happened with COVID when things slow down. What's going on? The kids are getting more lazier. I'm seeing here now. I'm probably going a little bit off to the,
No, no,
but
no,
I'm
go, go.
yeah, but what I'm seeing a little bit, what I'm seeing now is like a lot of parents are withdrawing their kids from the traditional school into
Mhm.
like, which is okay, which is okay, but I don't think that the kids should be withdrawn from traditional to online, and then again it's okay, but you know um we want them to have both worlds. We don't
Right.
want them to be closed in. That's what I'm
Yeah.
kind of saying. Now some kids you
Yeah.
have to, because that's what they need,
Yeah.
but we don't want to just make that where this is what you're going to seclude yourself. you
Right.
know we don't. that's
Right.
that's the part I'm talking about. So I'm seeing a
Yeah.
lot of that, and that's up in the mental health more, because
Yeah.
then they go out
Yeah.
to the community, they don't know how to, be around people, or they getting
Yeah.
paranoid and things like that. Yeah.
That's
So
that's absolutely correct. I mean, I think parents, and it kind of goes on what I talk about. That's a form of parenting that whoever choose to do that, they do that, but maybe homeschool or whatever, and
Yeah.
raise their kids at home in a non-traditional way. But that doesn't mean that the things that they're trying to protect their child from
Yeah.
is going to not happen to them, so to speak,
Mhm.
because they cannot go to school, but they can
Yeah.
still have friends, or they may have
Mhm.
friends. They may go out on the weekend, they may go to the movie, they may spend at their house, and we
Yeah.
know when the parents are not supervising
Mhm.
these kids, things
Yes.
sometimes tend to happen,
Mhm.
unfortunately. Uh,
Yeah.
so, but I do think the isolation, I think these kids do need um
Mhm.
that sense of
Mhm.
community, meaning their own
Mhm.
peers, because they need to know how to
Yes. Yes.
interact and survive and socialize
Mhm.
with their
Mhm.
peers.
Yes.
It's funny you brought it up because I actually know someone
Mm.
who this individual was not homeschooled,
Uh-huh.
but he had a fear of being around people,
Yeah.
which is
Mhm.
crazy that I
Yeah.
didn't know this. Like I have been friends with
Mhm.
him for a while, but we have
Mhm.
never, we just
Yeah.
went to the gym or whatever.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
remember him telling me, I was like, well, let's go to the mall, whatever. And he
Yeah.
was saying like how he, you know, um, gets fearful and have
Mhm.
anxiety when he go to a mall around people. And I had
Yeah.
known him for like a while, and I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's the risk you take
Mhm.
if you go that route with homeschooling
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah. Paranoia, all that. I support, we support whatever parents feel that's best,
Yeah,
but it's getting pushed off because some of their friends are doing it. So
right,
now it's passing on to I don't want to go to school because my friend is not at
right.
school. It's a both worlds, a mixture of
Yeah,
all type of things.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
But I'm seeing a lot of that.
yeah. Wow, that's interesting. Okay. So um the Ron, where's the this event gonna be located at?
Yeah. Again, it's gonna be Saturday, November 1st at 9 o'clock, rain or shine. It's gonna be at Hagen Park, located in Rancho Cordova.
Okay.
Um, and for those, they can go ahead and visit our website for more information and get information for tickets. I'm always like, I don't know this and that. I'm like all the way around.
Yeah,
I said, visit our website at lamontmyersfoundation.org and the information will be posted on there. And I'm asking people, even if you can't make it, if you have social media or whatever you can do, please tell a friend and tell a friend. We want to make this a great, community event and for our angels and as well as my son Lamont Myers too. But I want to acknowledge other people that have lost, because it's devastating to lose someone that you love.
yeah,
And I know my son lost his life from, fentanyl poisoning, but I don't want to take away from other losses because I'm
right,
very inclusive, with community violence, um, suicide,
right.
things that even a car accident or whatever, a loss is a loss. And we love our family. So,
Yeah,
come on out, bring your
yeah,
pictures of your loved ones.
yeah. That's good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would definitely be participating in that for sure.
Thank you.
So
Thank
thank you
you.
for sharing that.
Mhm.
So Javon, we're gonna put a twist on this. We're just gonna be having an organic conversation. Um, so because of the topic is parenting, I'm curious to know about your childhood and
Mhm.
how your mom raised you and your siblings.
Yeah. So, like how most times it start off, not all the time, but it started off with me being in a two-parent household,
Yeah.
and my parents they depart at an early age.
Okay.
Um, I think I was probably about six or
Yeah.
seven, something like that. And it was rough. I
Okay.
grew up in San Francisco, the projects. For those, well, when I say projects, meaning low income housing, that's what they called it back then. I'm 50 years old, so I'm kind of old school. So
Yeah.
low income housing, and neighborhoods that wasn't safe, but
Yeah.
it was safe for me because these were my friends. This is where I grew up. I knew how to maneuver the streets.
Yeah.
But food stamps, I went through that at one point. I don't know if I tell people, but I've been around drugs my whole life.
Yeah.
My mother, she was on it,
Yeah.
as a single mother coming home, my mom not there. I just done been through a whole bunch of stuff, but not having enough food at the end of the month,
Yeah.
things like that. But yeah, it's very hard for a single parent, especially for one that's working.
Yeah.
The other half, my dad, when things got too bad, I want to leave from my mama
Right.
and go with my dad. So they both took turns raising me, but that was the best thing for me is to go with him. I was able to go to school more often.
Yeah.
Being able to have lunch money to spend or just walk to
Yeah.
school, things like that. And, for a single dad, it was really rough.
Yeah.
I remember, when I wasn't old enough at one point to comb my own hair. He used to comb my hair, used
Yeah.
to walk me to school, things like that. And for a man, it's not really easy raising a girl. It's like, oh my gosh, what do I do with this this
Right.
this child? She's gonna
Yeah.
start her monthly and
Yeah.
she's needing training bras. I remember my dad would have friends that was females, like, here goes some money. Can you take her to the store?
Yeah.
JC Penney, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you have any siblings, Javon, or were you just the only child?
I was the only child. I have step
Oh,
siblings to this day. Step siblings.
oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
hmm
Maybe you mentioned that
Yeah.
before, but I forgot.
Yeah, maybe I don't know, but yeah, I have step siblings. Always been around a bunch of my cousins that was girls. I have some around my age, but they had siblings. I
Right.
didn't. Yeah.
Right.
hmm
Interesting. So how did that affect you with your mom's situation being on drugs and knowing that she's a
Yeah.
woman per se, and you
Yeah.
need to have that female parent present in your
hmm
life as a young girl growing up? How did that
Yeah.
affect you?
You know what? The time I didn't know what was going on, but as I start getting older, it's like, well, dang, I can't even talk to my mama. She's not in her right mind. Where is my mama?
Yeah.
Where is my mama? But I always knew that she had love for me. Whatever she can do. When she got her back then, we used to like to wear the guest overalls.
Mm-hmm.
So, she would make sure I had things that I needed, and then she
Yeah.
go off and do what she wanted to do. But it
Yeah.
was hard, because it's like, mama is sleeping all day,
Yeah.
and here I am cleaning up the house, and going to school, things like that. I have always been very I grew up fast,
Yeah.
yeah. I like my house clean. I like to cook. And these are the things I am how I am today, but mama didn't do that. She had her
Yeah.
mental illness and
Yeah.
things like that. So it was hard. It was hard. And then I know that she was still loving my dad and missing
Right.
him, and so she's going through her things too. Yeah,
Yeah.
but overall, just being there, not enough resources, back then we didn't have enough resources. And when I say resources, you know, um, how do I get to school?
Yeah.
Who can she talk to get us some food? Or I want to go to summer school. She needs some help to get me to get
Yeah.
enrolled in school, things like that.
Yeah.
It was tough financially, mentally, yeah,
Yeah.
and mentally.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about my mom. Ooh, bring back a lot of
Yeah,
memories. We didn't have the best relationship growing up, but one thing I do applaud my mother for is she did the best she could do being a single mom.
yeah,
She was she was an alcoholic, and
yeah.
I think
Mm,
that she definitely used alcohol to escape her lack of resources, her inability to be able to um, give us what we want, opposed to give us what she know we needed. Like
Yeah.
we always has food on the table. She always cooked clean. She did she raised us with the what she had,
Mhm.
whether it was a little bit of money, the public aid, the food stamps, going to, the churches to get food,
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
and I
Mhm.
remember as a kid,
Yeah.
I didn't understand that. I've always had the mindset that I wanted to do better and be better because we grew up with rats and roaches, and I didn't
Mhm.
realize at the
Mhm.
time, and I do sometimes think about this. I'm like, man, like, she did the best that she could do with what she had.
Yes.
My father was never really in the picture at all. And when he
Mhm.
did come around, there was a lot of domestic violence,
Mhm.
him,
Mhm.
physically harming my mother and stuff. And, but I didn't understand a lot of this until I got older. All I knew when I was a child was, you know, she didn't do this, she didn't do that, she didn't do that, and plus we don't get along and blah 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 blah. But when I got older, I realized like, okay, there's some things she definitely could have done differently, but there's some things that she definitely did right too, because we could have been in the foster home. We could,
Mhm.
one time she had to go and stay in a shelter. Uh,
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
it was rough. It was rough,
Mhm.
but she didn't have that help
Yeah.
that she needed as a single
Mhm.
mom.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, just talking about this bring back a lot of memories.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah, she
Yeah.
did what she can do, and I know that the alcohol was definitely an escape for her. She will always like make us when she get intoxicated. She will always tell all her kids, from the oldest to the youngest. My older sister's number one, you line up. Number two, you line up. I was number three. Number three, you line up. And she would just have us to line up literally in the middle of the living room
Mhm.
and look at us and just, that was her way of expressing her love for her
Mhm.
kids. You know,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
yeah,
I
because
love y'all.
the
Mhm.
daddy wasn't there,
I know. Yeah.
but when she would line us up and
Mm.
just hug us, come on, give mama a
Mm.
kiss, and
Mm.
and we'd
Yeah.
run. We're like, it's two
Yeah.
o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's a way of
Yeah.
showing us
Mhm.
that she loved us, and we were
I
her
love
pride
you.
and joy.
Yes.
And she always used to
Mhm.
teach us, if something ever happened to me, oof, hold on,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
man.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's all right. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Mm.
mm,
Yeah.
I just
Mhm.
I just
That's
appreciate
appreciated.
the
Yeah, I appreciate hearing this because that's so beautiful. Not all mothers be like, "Come over here, I love you," and our future, our kids need to hear that.
yeah,
Like I love you. I know I'm doing some things, whatever, but I love you. She took time out, and y'all knew that y'all was loved. That's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
That's the best. If you can't get you get anything else, what they say, you give them love. You give
yeah,
them. Because
yeah,
we see what's happening when the streets are giving it to them.
yeah,
We see that part. That's beautiful.
yeah. And just, seeing experiencing that firsthand with her being a single mother, going through the alcohol addiction and trying to escape domestic violence, and
Yeah.
it was a lot. It was, yeah, it was a lot. But
Yeah.
I'm glad that she stuck it out with her kids, because like I said, we
Mhm.
could have um
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah.
been in an adoption home or a foster
Mhm.
home, or anything like that. And then being especially being African American woman,
Mhm.
the stigma. We
Yeah.
had some mental health challenges within our,
Mhm.
family, and
Yes.
she didn't address a lot of that because she was
Mhm.
trying her best to stay strong.
Yeah.
It
Mhm.
was something else, but yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so Javon, what is
Mhm.
the first thing you remember about being a mother? Like,
Oh my goodness. That was my pride and joy. Like I say, I grew up as the only child. I am the only child from my mother and my father. My father had a child when he was younger, but we don't know where that child is. That was when he
yeah,
was a teenager or something. But anyways, yeah, I'm both of
mm,
their only child, first girl, all that. Um, and I always wanted to have more than one kid
yeah,
because I knew how that was being the only child, not having nobody to talk to, nobody to play with. You
yeah,
know, luckily I have, cousins around my age, but then they're going home. It's just
yeah,
me,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know. So when I found out I was pregnant with my first child, I couldn't believe it. I was like, that was my first time being pregnant, first time,
yeah, yeah,
So I was like, oh, okay, okay. And I remember like, oh, I'm gonna go get me some food. I remember all the food that I always have. This is what mommy gonna feed you. You just be in
yeah,
mommy mode, even though it's just, it's not the fetus, it's just a fetus. But
yeah,
it was just the most beautiful thing. Um, and that was 28 years ago.
yeah,
Um, I was having this conversation with him, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're 20." He's like, Mom, I'm 28. I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
yeah,
But just to see him today is just amazing. He's just so beautiful, so precious. It's just beautiful being a mom. And, I think if people want to or able to, that's it's just the most beautiful gift in the whole wide world. It's just seeing how your little person grow,
yeah,
things like that. And I was very lucky because not all people have that support. I've been
yeah.
with my husband since 6 months out of high school, over 30 something years.
Wow.
So, that was his first son. And, we're still together. He stuck by me, and his family, So I had a lot of support, and, lots of love and lots of support. So I was very fortunate, especially
Yeah,
what I've been through as a child, and when you say shelters, I remember us having to leave, we get an eviction notice because she didn't pay the rent. I remember staying in a crack house.
yeah, yeah,
I remember staying in a crack house. Thank God nothing happened to me. They was very supportive. I remember the guy gave us his room. I stayed there probably like 2 months with my mom in that room. Everything I needed, she would go get it or they would bring it to me. I wasn't allowed to really come out. I done been
yeah,
through a lot of stuff, at a
yeah,
young age. And yeah, and I'm just glad I'm surprised I didn't get taken away, CPS or anything like that. Yeah, I
yeah,
had to learn a lot of stuff on my own. But
yeah,
yeah, having that support, being, my first child is just beautiful all the way through all my kids. Yeah.
yeah. Were there any like fears or concerns about you like yourself as a new mom? Did you have any concerns because your mom wasn't there and then
Yeah.
you didn't really have that person to kind of like,
Yeah.
kind of guide you, teach you into motherhood? Like, were you
Yeah.
like worried about like, oh, I hope I be a good mother to him? Did you
Yeah.
have those going through your mind at all?
It's funny that you mentioned that. I would have to say no.
Okay.
I missed her, but I think that now that you mentioned, I kind of like blocked her out.
Yeah.
It was like, I was working, trying to figure out. I started off working at Goodwill. And it was like, okay, what I'm gonna do with my life? No, nothing's wrong with working at Goodwill, but what am I gonna do in my life? I need to be trying to do stuff for my kid.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be having a baby pretty soon, things like that. but I kind of like blocked her off. I just knew that I was going to be a good mother.
Mhm.
And like I mentioned before, well, I don't know if I said this before, but I grew up, well, I grew up having to do things, like I
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
I cleaned up the house. I remember one time, I remember a few times when we would get food stamps, I would walk to Safeway. We stayed not too far from Candlestick Park. It was a Safeway on Williams in San Francisco in Bayview Hunters Point. And I remember walking to Safeway and coming back in the cab with probably like $200 worth of groceries,
Wow.
And can you imagine a 9-year-old sitting in the back of the cab getting all
Yeah.
this stuff?
Wow.
So I was the mother.
Yeah.
I was not, taking care of the household. I would
Yeah.
cook, I would clean and go to school, and she would sleep all day,
Yeah.
and part of her addiction, mental illness is really strong on
Yeah.
that side of the family. So I didn't understand all this. I just knew I had to take care of my mom. I like to clean house. I just knew what to do. And
Yeah.
nobody didn't have to tell me that, I just knew what to do. And having my own kid, I kind of knew what to do.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I grew up very, I grew up very, I can't think of the word, with silent or whatever. I can't think of the word right now, but yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That, I mean, as you know, that's very common in a lot of households. The kids have to, grow up fast,
Yeah.
and then the older sibling tend to take the role of the
Hmm.
parent. If there's younger
Yeah.
siblings, if the parent is whatever they're doing, they may be at work, they
Yeah.
may be on drugs or alcohol, whatever, that does
Yeah.
fall on the older sibling
Hmm.
to take on those responsibilities.
Hmm.
So that
Yeah.
actually helped you
Hmm.
when you became a
Yeah.
parent, those
Hmm.
skills that you inherited at such a young age.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. I think some of the downfall is that I'm very hard on everything. Like even
Yeah,
with my organization, people that work around me, it's not that I'm being nitpicky,
yeah,
but I see a lazy side. So
yeah,
instead of me, if I tell you once or twice, okay, I don't need to keep telling you, so I'm just gonna do it
right,
myself. But I'm
right,
very hard and strict on things because this is what I have to do, and I
right,
know how it's supposed to look. I know it's how it's
right,
supposed to be. So
yeah,
sometimes that can be a give and a curse.
yeah. Well, your
you know.
expectations are high.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, well, I have high expectations,
Mhm.
in certain spaces in my life, especially if somebody else
Yeah.
is if it's going to affect somebody else,
Yeah.
and those
Yeah.
that are around me, that may be whether I'm on a job or if
Yeah.
somebody is doing something for somebody I know outside of work life,
Yeah.
there's a certain expectation I have because
Yes. Yes.
we're providing this service, whether it's personal or
Yes.
professional. Uh,
Yes. Yes.
so I get it. I definitely
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. I just wish like some of those I'm speaking about certain person, but I just wish some of those will get it,
Yeah,
because you pour your heart into just everything. And like I say, tell people it's not about me. It's not about my
right,
son. It's about everybody. It's
right,
overall. But
right.
some people don't have that same mindset. So I'm
Yeah,
glad you
yeah,
looking at it now like, yeah, we have expectations.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Some people lack passion too. Some people,
Hmm.
and yeah, I get it. I get it. So when you had your second child, how was that for you? Because now you got the first one and you pretty
Yeah.
much got this mom thing
Yeah.
packed. So how
Yeah.
was that for you having a second child? And how far apart
Yeah.
is your first and second child from each other?
Yeah. Oh gosh. My second child was Lamont.
Yeah.
Love you so much, son. I know you here in this room with me. I love you, baby. I love you so much. Yeah, I'm so sorry, but yeah, it was the most beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Here it is. I have a child. Now I get to bring another child in this world and
Yeah.
he get to have a sibling. I get to
Right.
enjoy that. I get to see what it really is
Yes.
with siblings,
Yeah.
firsthand,
Yeah.
in their mind.
Yeah.
So it was just the most beautiful thing. They're 4 years apart. Um, I was so glad that he was able to be a baby and then he was able to be the baby.
Yeah,
It was just beautiful. He was my biggest boy, my
yeah,
biggest baby, 9 pounds.
yeah,
9 pounds. And I used to eat with him too. Like, yeah, I'm gonna
yeah,
fatten you up.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, just like I say, I knew I was gonna have more than one kid, and
yeah,
I'm so much about family. hmm
yeah,
I wanted it to be a girl. I wanted the first one to be a girl, and when they told me it was gonna be a boy, I was like, they probably don't even know what they're talking about. So I'm buying clothes that's neutral, and then the second one, I'm like, I want a girl, but
yeah,
I'm just so glad he came. There was difficulties at first, when I was having him,
yeah,
to whereas I had to have emergency C-section. But I was just thinking about last week. I was thinking like, oh, how I used to have them dress alike,
yeah,
going to school and things like that. It's just beautiful. Yeah, it
yeah,
was just beautiful just to share that love with them.
yeah. And
Mhm.
then the third one, how was that?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That was even beautiful too.
Yeah,
Um, just yesterday I was on because I have this picture of them when they first came to the hospital when I had LJ. That's my last one, the third one.
yeah,
And I just remember the look on their face when my mother-in-law brought them to the hospital. It was like the baby. They must have been talking on the way. Like you have a
yeah,
little brother. You're gonna see your little brother.
yeah,
And the look on their face, oh, it was just so amazing. I can't find a picture with Elton, but I have the picture with Lamont holding him. And he
yeah,
just had this big old smile, like I'm a big brother.
yeah,
When I showed them, they were so happy.
yeah,
And it's just I was just about family. It's just the most beautiful thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now you have these three children, your three boys, and you got this motherhood down packed. Now,
Yeah.
how was that raising the three of them? Because I'm sure they all probably had different personalities, because
Yeah.
some children need more attention than other ones. Like, how was
hmm
that for you once you start to learn their personalities?
Yeah. You know what? I always raised my kids to be independent.
Okay.
The first two, even when Lamont was a little one, he was independent. I used to
Yeah.
be like, "No, a baby. I'm trying to make him be the baby,
Yeah.
stay as a baby, but he wanted to do what his other two siblings. Because my husband, he had his first daughter, well, his first and only daughter, probably about, I think he probably about 17. He was a young father you
Yeah.
know. So by that time, here it is with my second child, he wanted to do things his big brother was doing, or what
Okay.
his older brother, his sister was doing. He walked fast, he was doing things. I'm like, slow down.
Yeah.
So the first two very independent. My third one, he's independent too, but I had a chance to be able to enjoy him a little bit more because that's
Yeah.
when I stayed home and I did daycare. So I
Yeah.
had the three boys and I had a house full of kids. I was like the mother in the book with the shoe with all these kids,
Yeah.
and sometimes every blue moon they'd come and see me, or they used to come a lot like during Halloween, stuff like that, but now they're older. And every now and then I hear from, if not them, their parents.
Yeah.
So, I had a house full of kids and I was able to spend more time with the younger one.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that. Yeah.
It
Mhm.
tends to be like that, though. It tends to be like the younger sibling get raised a little bit differently than the
Yeah.
older ones because it's for different reasons too.
Yeah.
Sometimes um, I know in my case, my mother was much more firm and harder and set those rules and expectations.
Yeah.
Though my youngest brother, he got away with a little more than we did. And we
Yeah.
like, boy, if you just knew mom when she was in her prime, when she was younger, boy, you wouldn't be. So it tends to for some reason be like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I know,
So
like,
no, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, like I used to think that Lamont was the messier one, and I
Mhm.
used to be like, Bring this up. Why didn't you leave it? And he used to be like real calm, Mom, it's LJ doing this. And I'm like, stop blaming stuff on him. But now that he's not here and I'm seeing I'm like, this is what Lamont was saying. And he
Yeah.
didn't argue with me. He was
Yeah.
just like, you're gonna see. I'll need to explain. You're gonna see.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
So is it hard to play to have favorites among your children? I mean, as a parent, this is a general question, not just directed to you,
Yeah.
but do you think it's hard for a parent not to have a favorite child? Because think about it. You
Yeah.
may have that child who strong will, independent, want to do what they want to do. You say go left, they
Yeah.
say go right,
Yeah.
whatever. And then you may have that child that you could tell them to do everything, they'll do everything you tell them to do perfectly.
Yeah.
No issue, no trouble. And
Yeah.
so is it hard not to have a favorite child amongst as a parent? I'm just speaking in general.
Yeah. You know what? I say, because I'm going back to like all these because like I said, I did daycare. So, I've seen a lot of stuff with single parents and multiple kids. Um, I want to say, it's not really hard, but all your kids they're all special, but sometimes
Right,
it's just a little bit with the little one, or some of them might get a little bit more of your attention
right,
because they might need it, or it's just
right.
something that you're feeling there, but you love them all to death. You
Yes.
love them to death. But with some parents, they have their favorites.
Yeah.
They have their favorite. Me, I love all my kids. Um, and when I think like if I feel like I was given one more than the other, I would try to find some kind of way to even it out.
Yeah.
Like let's go get some ice cream. Oh, I'm so tired today. Can you drive me to the gas station just because
Yeah.
I want to have that time with you?
Right. That's
Things like
smart.
that. Yeah, so I would do things like that. Yeah, but
That's
yeah,
smart.
I let them all to death. And then, here it is. They're these two 4 years apart. Now this one is 7 years apart. So
Yeah.
they're growing up. They're ready. They're playing Pop
Right.
Warner. We're going to the games, things like that. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
I kept them busy. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, is there stress that comes with being a parent that can potentially affect a person's mental health?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's so many barriers, emotionally, financially,
Yeah.
you can be in a marriage and have stress because maybe
Yeah.
you and your partner not seeing things eye to eye,
Yeah.
or it is, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of stress, or your kid not talking to you, or your
Yeah.
kids doing what they want to do, or it's a lot of argument, or the kids in the house not getting along.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stress, and
Yeah.
then you having to work, or if you don't have a job, how am I support? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot
So
of things.
you definitely is tapping on a lot of the questions I got was going to
Mhm.
ask you. How did you handle when the boys didn't get along, when they was arguing and fighting? How did you deal with that? Or
No,
your husband too, both of y'all. How did
yeah.
y'all deal with
Oh,
that?
he has shut it down. He has shut it down.
Yeah.
I want to say they really didn't really argue.
Yeah.
Now when they got older, the arguments would be about me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember that clearly. Like my oldest son and Lamont had got into it because he was, maybe like 16. He was growing up, being a young man, being
Yeah.
disrespectful. And my older son said, "You're not gonna be disrespecting my mama like that."
Yeah. Yeah.
And they got into a fight. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
say what.
Yeah. Yeah.
They got into a fight. And I'm like, no, y'all can't do that.
Yeah.
And even with my 16-year-old, my older one say, "You don't talk to mama like that because
Yeah.
he's smelling himself."
Yeah.
He's 17 now, but yeah. But no, they didn't really fight, because they
Yeah.
had their own rooms, and they were older.
Yeah.
As kids, yeah, I hate to say they didn't really fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
we
sure they
definitely
had.
fought growing up. We definitely fought growing up. And what my mother would do, every time she would get a broom and would
Mm,
get to whacking all of us. The two that was
yeah,
going down,
yeah,
break it up. And
yeah,
yeah, that was her
mm,
method. You know, I'm not
yeah,
gonna, y'all gonna stop this in my house.
yeah,
And we
yeah,
knew, and that was what
yeah,
she did. Like, y'all don't fight each other, y'all brothers and sisters, y'all
yeah,
together.
right.
And you know, that was
Yeah,
the thing, but she didn't have a problem with grabbing that
yeah, yeah,
broom and breaking it up.
yeah.
And
I don't know if it was because of the video games, because they
yeah,
had their own games, you know,
yeah,
video game. He had his system, he had his system. But
yeah,
I'm sure they fought, but it wasn't really like where I had to step in, or I didn't.
yeah,
If they did, I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't know. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
What type of parenting style you kind of described a little bit, but did you and your husband have different parenting style?
You know what? I think so, and I think not. Ironically, what's crazy is that both of our parents are from Louisiana, different parts of Louisiana. So we had a lot of soulful stuff, you know, the soul food and things like that. Our backgrounds are kind of similar, you know, as I sat and looked at it a couple of years ago, it was like, wow, you were raised, your mom and daddy was together just like mine was. Then they broke up and you went with your mother for a little bit, but then you went with your dad. So
Right.
kind of like the same thing, you know. I think our backgrounds are something similar. Yeah,
Okay.
something similar. Yeah, his dad cooked. My dad used to like to cook, and he's real into family. My dad was into family, mother too. You know, only things
Yeah.
that was different was our mothers. You know, my
Yeah.
mother was an addict. His mother wasn't. She worked.
Yeah.
She
Okay.
worked.
So
Hmm.
when it came to you all disciplining y'all children, were you guys always on the same page, or you was
Nope.
more nurturing and stuff, and he was more like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I was more nurturing and I had to understand how, this is a boy, this is not a
hmm,
girl. This which is not a difference, but at the same time, you want him not saying, that this is how my husband had thought. I don't want him crying all the time. You can't baby him. He got to be strong, things like that. Not to say that a girl is not,
right,
but that's probably was his outlook. But me, I'm like, this is my baby, but then
right,
it's like he's the man, so I have to
yeah,
respect that he's the man. I can't
yeah,
overpower that, so some
yeah,
things I had to step back.
yeah. How was it with the dynamics of your life as the mother, as the wife? Because the first it was you and your husband, and I know he had, the daughter, whatever, but
Yeah.
and then you start having kids. How did you balance that as a mother
Yeah.
with being a wife? And like how did you, because
Yeah.
you got these, pretty much you
Yeah.
still got to be a wife and you still got to
Yeah.
be a mother. Like how did you
Yeah.
handle that?
Whew. I don't know. I want to say God. Like I say, I think I was prepared before I even knew what I was stepping into as being a
Yeah,
mother, having children, stepchildren,
yeah,
well, I only got one stepchildren, but I have my step grandkids. So
yeah,
down like a rocket scientist. I knew what to do. Even with
yeah,
him having a daughter, and me meeting the daughter, the mother, I knew how to carry myself then.
hmm, yeah,
So yeah, I don't know. I just knew what I was
yeah,
doing.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. And I care about people a lot. So maybe
yeah,
that's another thing, and I know what needs to be done.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How did you handle like being a mother and like having to go to work? Like how was
Mm-hmm.
that for you?
Oh, hi. Want to say hi? This is LJ, the 17-year-old. He just gave
Okay,
me this. He's
you can
showing
say
up.
hi. Yeah, put it on camera. Hey, how's it
Hello.
going, LJ?
Sorry. Hi.
No,
No,
You
you're
know I
fine.
shouldn't be here, but I just want to say hi to my mom.
put your gotta can
I
I
see
say
you.
this?
How
Then they
you
can see you.
doing?
Yeah, I just want to say hi to my mom real quick. Sorry.
No worries.
Such a good mother.
Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you.
I like that.
Sorry about that.
No,
Yeah.
that's fine. I mean, we talk about being
Yes.
a parent, so that's very fitting. Okay, so how was that for you? Like just going to work, Javon having to come home and clean and cook, like knowing
Yeah.
these three young children
Yeah.
depending on you.
Yeah. It was a lot. It was a lot, especially like I say, whew, when I had my last one, like, because I did daycare for numerous of years and having to go back to work, and I was so glad that, okay, I was able to get him into a school, where they would keep him all day. But, it was hard because like you say, the house had to stay clean. Um, I had to cook dinner when I got home. Some jobs I had to where I didn't get off till like 6 o'clock. I used to hate that,
Yeah,
especially when you have to
yeah,
leave work and go pick up your kid at daycare. I didn't like and get there. My kid is the only kid there. Everybody to pick up their kids.
yeah,
I hated that. But things that I found that was working, I let it work, and what wasn't working, I fixed it. So, like for example, it would be times where I would cook dinner before I go to work. I
yeah,
started work at 9 o'clock. The kids had to be school at 8. So by I'm up at 6. Whatever I'm cooking, whatever I can cook or whatever was
yeah,
done. Because I always wanted, by that time, Lamont he was in junior high school, so he would walk to school. Elton, he was in high school, so when Lamont come home, I want you to have some food on something to eat.
yeah,
That's how I was raised. By 12 o'clock, dinner is done.
yeah.
You
That's
know,
good.
so I always had to make sure there was food getting done. There was times I didn't, but most of the times, yeah. And then I love for my kids to wake up smelling the aroma of the food,
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah, like that get them a good feeling, just like I still do it today. I get up and I play my music,
yeah,
let them know like, hey, things like that. But yeah, it was tough, because my husband, he's a longshoreman, so he works in the Bay Area.
yeah,
So, some nights he's not here. He's at my dad's house spending the night,
yeah,
or it's just me and the kids. So
yeah,
things like that was rough. And getting them off to sports, having to come back home, it was a
yeah.
lot.
Wow.
hmm
Wow,
hmm
man. But that is a lot. But you made it your own, meaning you kind of
Yeah,
crafted your own parenting style. And I like the fact that you said that you got up and cooked before work, because that definitely
yeah.
was
hmm
a game changer. Because you come home at 6 o'clock, you got these boys in the house, these boys, they hungry, what I'm
Yes,
saying?
yes, they're hungry.
They want to eat, so that was
Yeah,
very strategic doing that, and knowing that
yeah,
when they get home, mama gonna have a meal ready for us.
yeah,
We'll see how much she
yeah.
get here, but we gonna warm this food up and eat.
Yes, yes. The part that I feel like I do need to get back more because like my first two, they would eat beans and rice. I
Hmm.
cooked a lot, and since now it's like, oh, I'm busy. I don't cook as much as I used to, and I
Yeah,
want LJ to have some experience. Like he don't eat beans and rice, right? Red beans and rice, things like that.
yeah,
But yeah, so some of the things, that too. Yeah, I'd be like, I need to do more of this. But yeah, just
yeah.
thinking about that, probably off a little subject, off topic. Yeah.
No, that's fine. So what type of thing did you have your children's doing growing up outside of sports? Like, did you have them go out to the movies together? Like, what did you like to kind of keep them bonded?
Yeah. So that's a good question. What I did to keep them bonded, we would have movie nights sometime, but for the most part, they wanted to they wanted to be by themselves in their room
Yeah,
playing video games.
yeah.
Wasn't playing sports, they were
That-
tired.
That's how it be. That's exactly
Yeah.
how it be too.
hmm
Did you all ever
Yeah.
take like any family vacations together as a family or?
Oh, I'm glad that you mentioned that. Yes, that was something that that we didn't play about that. Our kids, they done traveled. They went everywhere we went. They done
That's
went
good.
to Mexico.
Yeah,
Yeah, we still try to do that. Yeah,
yeah,
Louisiana, we take them everywhere. That was some of the things that we really did, and they really enjoyed that.
yeah.
Yeah, they really enjoyed traveling.
Were you the type of mom? Because some parents, they don't like everybody babysitting their kid. They like you just they're gonna take them wherever we go, wherever they go.
Yeah,
Were you that type
yeah.
of parent, or you just like, "Oh, let's try to get a babysitter"?
Yeah, I was the type of parent to where these are my kids. I
Yeah,
don't want my kids spending the night with somebody else's
yeah,
house.
yeah,
I was like that. I would really have to know the mama really well. And
yeah,
even then I didn't sleep good. You got to
yeah,
be home at 8 o'clock in the morning.
yeah, yeah.
It's very hard.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom, she was not a fan of that either.
Hmm.
No, no, no. You ain't spend the night out. She did not
Yeah.
play that. She did not play that at all.
Yeah, I didn't
At
like that at
all.
all. Hmm.
So
Yeah. Hmm.
that's good. Um, how did you handle when your kids were in disagreement with you on some things that you may have cooked some, just say some greens or some stuff. And they, now I want a bologna sandwich. Like how did you handle that when they was in disagreement with you as their mom?
Yeah. Oh, it's not easy raising boys.
Oh, I know.
That's when they really cut up. When daddy not here, I ain't gonna say all boys,
Yeah,
but that's when they really cut up is when the dad's not around.
yeah,
Oh yeah, we done had disagreements. I used to run down the street chasing them.
yeah, yeah,
And then I realized, girl, you can't do that. These are boys, they're gonna be mad.
yeah, yeah,
So, we had our arguments and things like that. And then when I start realizing, like, you know what, I would tell my husband, like, you need to talk to them. You need to
yeah,
talk to them. Yeah.
yeah.
So I kind of like left that to him. Mhm.
I think it was very good that you had a husband in the home
Yeah.
because a lot of people don't have that,
Hmm. Hmm.
two-parent home. And I think
Yeah.
that there are definitely some benefits to having a two-parent
Mm.
home, especially especially in your case, you got three boys
Yeah. Yeah.
and they had a father around to be able to, to kind of help you
Yeah.
out with some of the challenging situations when they want to challenge you because they know when he come home, they already know like y'all done had the conversation and they know like, yeah, like dad is gonna come in and have this conversation with us.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. So that helped out a lot, and it's just sad because some mothers don't have that. Like I have a friend now, she's doing very good for herself, but her kids, they're
yeah,
older and the dad's not around,
yeah,
and that's hard. It's
yeah,
very hard. Hmm.
yeah. I always say that there are definitely benefits coming from a two-parent home because you know a woman can really teach a man how to be a man, and a man
Exactly.
cannot teach a little girl how to
That'd be a
be a
girl.
woman. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? I mean, there's only so much you can do, and it's only far so much you're
Yes.
gonna be able to go. Because
Hmm.
especially with females, when that little girl grow up and get her monthly, she
Yes.
need that woman to
Yes.
teach her about these things and to teach her the
Yes.
body and guide these things. And
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
it's important.
Hmm.
So you
It
were
is.
very fortunate to have him around raising, especially raising three boys.
Yes. Thank you.
Because sometimes the boys we get a little bit hard headed, and
Yeah.
we get the especially when we get to seeing the little girls, we thinking we know everything now, and yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. What is
Yeah.
the most proudest moment you remember as a mother?
Man, just having all my kids together,
Yeah,
seeing them perspire,
yeah,
it's a beautiful feeling. It's just being a mom and, oh, mom this, mom that, yeah, but for the most part, it's just having them all together.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I could,
Mhm.
and I don't know you like that, but I can definitely tell you a good mother.
Thank
Just
you.
not just through this interview, but when your son came on, and that was one of
Oh,
the things he said. Like I could just, you know,
yeah.
I could
Thank
tell
you. Thank you.
you,
Thank you.
um,
Yeah.
and even though your oldest son is not there, you're
Yeah.
still his mom. You're
Yes.
parenting him in a different way now.
Yes. Yeah, in a different way now.
Yeah, but
And yeah, and like with him, he's a young adult and he kind of know things, but now it's like, okay, so you're doing good. I think the last time we had our interview is I was over at his house. I gotta
okay,
go see what's going on,
yeah,
things like that. But he's doing really good. But just like, encouraging him, keep doing what you're doing. Cause
that's awesome.
he's by himself.
Yeah,
He's by himself. He has a condo. When me and my husband got together, we went on half on everything. He's
yeah,
doing everything himself,
that's awesome.
that
That's awesome.
everything himself, going to work, so now I'm just like, take time out for yourself. I'm teaching him how to do self-care.
Exactly.
You're busy, but go to the gym,
Yeah,
take care of yourself mentally. So I'm working on him with that. He's understanding some things,
yeah.
but
Is he here in Sacramento?
he's in Oakland,
Okay,
California.
okay, okay,
Yeah, he's a longshoreman. What that is, anything that comes from overseas, they take it unloaded. So
okay,
yeah. Mhm.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Javon, we have run out of time. We always have good conversations when we do our
Yeah.
interviews, and it goes really, really quick too. So,
Yeah.
I do appreciate you always taking the time to be willing to let me interview you and just share your experience and share, the wealth of knowledge that you have on certain
Thank
subjects.
you.
So, I really do thank you for that. So,
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys, especially giving me the opportunity to do that.
yeah.
I appreciate all that, the opportunity. Yeah.
Okay, you're welcome. So I'm gonna close us out and then we'll go from there. Um,
Okay.
that's it for this edition of Mental Health Matters. If you enjoyed this particular show, if you would like a DVD copy of this show, or if you'd like to be a guest on our show, please dial 916-366-4600. Thank you.